The relationship has long been a source of curiosity for the tennis community. Why is Alex Eala's career so closely followed by Roger Federer, the 20-time Grand Slam champion and the most graceful player to ever set foot on a court? He went to her junior matches, but why? Why did he talk so warmly and admiringly about her? For years, the rumors have been circulating. Some believed he detected a kindred spirit, while others said it was just polite Swiss behavior. However, the world number one, four-time Grand Slam champion and close watcher of both players, Aryna Sabalenka, has now officially disclosed the truth, and her response has left the tennis community stunned. What did Sabalenka say about the relationship between the Swiss master and the Filipina star, and why is it stronger than anyone could have predicted? March of 2022, Mallorca, Spain's Rafa Nadal Academy. Roger Federer watched the young players as they performed their routines while standing at the edge of the practice court with his arms folded. He was there to watch the next generation of tennis talent emerge from the academy bearing the name of his greatest rival, not to train. A 16-year-old left-hander from the Philippines was one among the players on the court. Alex Eala was her name. Federer had heard that she was a junior Grand Slam champion with a strong lefty forehand and poise that belied her age. However, something clicked when I saw her in person. He saw temperament in addition to talent. The way she handled the tight point, the way she reset after a mistake, the way she held herself between rallies, calm, focused, unshakable. That's when the connection was made. Fans have observed Federer's subtle but clear support for Eala over the years. When his schedule permitted, he went to her junior bouts. In interviews, he spoke warmly and admiringly about her. He was one of the first people to congratulate her on social media when she became a professional. There were rumors circulating. Some believed he detected a kindred spirit, while others said it was just polite Swiss behavior. Some questioned whether a talented new athlete had a formal mentorship, something more than a legend's casual respect. Federer, however, never provided an explanation. He rarely discussed his connections with young players in public, preferring to let his behavior do the talking. The query hung in the air. Why did Roger Federer have such a strong bond with Alex Eala? June 2026, Berlin, Germany. Open press conference in Berlin. A Filipino journalist who had come to Berlin especially to cover Alex Eala's campaign asked the question. She had followed the Filipina celebrity since she was a young girl and had seen her soar from Quezon City's cracked courts to the 28th spot in the world rankings. She questioned four-time Grand Slam champion and world number one Aryna Sabalenka about Eala's quick rise. At first, Sabalenka's response was anticipated. Acknowledgement of Eala's improving serve, praise for her perseverance, and recognition to the fervent Filipino supporters who had made every tournament seem like home. The Belarusian's tone changed then. People discuss her game, her rating, and her admirers, but they don't discuss the people that support her. The space slanted forward. With a measured tone and the weight of someone who had seen behind the curtain, Sabalenka went on. For years, Roger Federer has been quietly and discreetly tutoring her. Whispers arose throughout the room. Reporters rushed to get the quote. Cameras focused on Sabalenka's face, looking for any indication of hyperbole. However, the top player in the world wasn't lying. Before most people even knew her name, he recognized something in her. He reached out to her and gave her advice, not on tennis technique, but on living at the top, how to deal with pressure, how to manage celebrity, and how to remain grounded when everyone wants a piece of you. Sabalenka took a moment to allow her words sink in. She is very devoted to him because of this. Before she became famous, he saw her. When she was still discovering who she was, he had faith in her. The tennis community was rocked by the discovery. For years, Roger Federer, the 20 Grand Slam champion and most adored tennis player in history, had been discreetly guiding Alex Eala, not as a coach or agent, but rather as a confidant and someone who had traveled the same journey as her. Sabalenka continued. She reminds him of himself. Not the tennis, her disposition, her poise under duress, or the way she acts when things are going wrong. With her pen poised above her notebook, the journalist who had posed the questions sat motionless. She had traveled to Berlin in search of a story about seeds and rankings. Confirmation of a bond that had been concealed in plain sight was what she was taking with her, and it was far more valuable. The video became viral in a matter of hours. The hashtag #FederMentors Eala started to gain popularity worldwide. Filipino supporters shed tears. Tennis experts rushed to uncover proof of the mentorship, looking through previous interviews, scrutinizing social media posts, and making connections that weren't obvious until Sabalenka shed light on them. As Alex Eala was getting ready for her Berlin first-round match, she discovered herself at the center of a tale she had never shared. The tennis community dismissed the evidence as coincidence or wishful thinking, but it had been there the entire time, buried in plain sight. It started in 2022, while 16-year-old Alex Eala was training at Mallorca's Rafa Nadal Academy. Federer paid an unexpected visit to the academy, with whom he has kept a tight relationship since its establishment. He encouraged the juniors while watching them work out, and he had a private talk with one player. Alex Eala was that player. Witnesses reported seeing a young woman leave the meeting clearly moved, her shoulders straightened with a newfound confidence, her eyes sparkling, but no cameras nor reporters caught the conversation. Eala would subsequently discuss the encounter in a rare interview, saying, "He told me to enjoy the journey. He advised me to call him if I ever stopped enjoying myself, because pursuing a dream is supposed to be challenging but also enjoyable." Over time, the mentorship grew more intimate. Federer has leisure now that he was retired. He was perceptive. He recognized in Eala the same silent burden, the weight of carrying expectations that went well beyond the baseline that he had experienced over the course of 2 decades as the face of a sport. "He teaches me how to be a human, how to maintain my composure in the face of change, and how to recall why I initially began playing." Although the tennis community had observed the relationship, it had never fully grasped its significance. Fans thought Federer's post about Eala's 2025 Miami Open quarterfinal run was just a standard professional congratulation. He was seated quietly in the player's box during her 2026 Indian Wells match, when the cameras caught him nodding in agreement following a particularly bold move. After bringing it up, commentators went on. However, Sabalenka's disclosure solved the puzzle. According to Sabalenka, she calls him when she's having problems, not with tennis, but with life, the loneliness of the tour, and the strain of representing a whole nation. He assures her that she is not alone because he has experienced everything. The world number one hesitated and carefully considered what to say next. That, in my opinion, explains why she is so calm on the court. She is supported by someone who has witnessed everything and understands what it takes to maintain the top spot. This person reminds her that the best champions are not determined by their wins, but rather by how they respond to setbacks. Federer has only mentioned Eala once, in passing, during an interview in 2025. He said, "She's special. Not because of her performance, but rather because of her spirit, her fighting style, and her unwavering perseverance. You are born with that. It is not something you can learn." In light of Sabalenka's disclosure, the interview, which had been written off as courteous praise, read like something quite different. A mentor talking about a protege he had seen develop and who reminded him of the young Roger Federer, the Basel boy who previously had loftier dreams. The tennis community now comprehended. Roger Federer was more than just a distant admirer of Alex Eala. He was a quiet protector and a behind-the-scenes figure who had been influencing her career with knowledge gained over 2 decades at the top of the sport rather than technical guidance. One of the best players of all time was on the side of Alex Eala, a 21-year-old Quezon City native who had left home at the age of 13 to pursue a dream. Berlin Open Press Conference, Berlin, Germany, June 2026, continues. The reporters at the Berlin Open Media Center were not satisfied despite the fact that the question had been addressed and the revelation had been made. They desired more. They wanted to know why Alex Eala was selected by the most adored tennis player in history, Roger Federer, who had witnessed generations of talent come and go. Leaning back in her chair, Sabalenka thought about the question. Being at the top for as long as Roger has, in my opinion, develops an eye for something that rankings are unable to quantify. You can tell if a young player has it when you see them under pressure. She hesitated. Eala possesses it. The room was waiting. It's not her serve or forehand. Rather, It's how she manages the times when everything seems to be falling apart. 2 weather delays against Mazarova, a rowdy crowd at Roland Garros hurling objects at her, and a 5-2 loss to Cheriva in the second set in Birmingham. She managed to find a path without breaking or cracking. The tone of Sabalenka's voice softened. Because that's who he was, Roger sees that in her. He wasn't the most athletic or strong player, but he was the most cool and graceful under duress, and he sees that in her. The analogy was startling. Federer's career was characterized by grace rather than brute force. He was able to create points like a chess grandmaster, discover angles that didn't seem to exist, and make the seemingly impossible seem routine. Eala played a different game. The temperament was the same, but with a fighter's grit and a lefty's angles. Sabalenka replied simply. She reminds him himself. The person, not the tennis. The manner in which she conducts herself, how she manages defeat, and how she respects her opponents.
You can't coach that.
She is that person. All over the tennis world, the words struck a chord. Filipino supporters felt a wave of validation after witnessing their hero endure blow after blow, fines, levies, snubs, and doubts. The greatest of all time recognized in her the same traits that had characterized his own illustrious career. Sabalenka explained that he's not attempting to make her a replica of him. She is so attached to him because he sees her, not her ranking, not her performance, not her potential, and he is working to help her become the best version of herself. Soon later, the press conference came to a conclusion, but the discussion had only begun. Fans analyzed every known exchange between Federer and Eala on social media. The congratulatory posts following her Miami Open run, the handwritten notes following her defeats, the silent presence in her player's box at Indian Wells, and the private encounter at the Rafa Nadal Academy. The parts had always existed. They had simply never been assembled. Up until now. June 2026, Berlin, Germany. The path ahead, nothing and everything has changed as a result of the disclosure. Wimbledon seeding is still up for grabs for Alex Eala. On June 22nd, the 163 points from the Eastbourne final of the previous year still expire. 9 of the top 10 players in the world are still in the Berlin draw. There is still a great deal of pressure. However, something has changed. The tennis community now recognizes that Eala's calm manner is a result of both her innate fortitude and the quiet leadership of the most adored champion in the sport. For years, Roger Federer has supported her as a mentor rather than a coach, guiding her through difficult times rather than controlling her game. Sabalenka stated, "I think the most important thing he's given her is perspective. It's easy to become lost when you're 21, and everyone says you're the sport's future. Roger reminds her that tennis is what she does, not who she is." Eala has never discussed the extent of their connection in public. She has always politely and modestly sidestepped inquiries about Federer, praising him as an inspiration without disclosing the intimate nature of their relationship. However, her close friends and family claim that the mentoring has changed her. A tennis journalist was informed by a person close to Eala's camp that she is now more self-assured. There's a difference between being confident and haughty.